Like she said, we all have stories, and like she said, I'm definitely not an expert at this. This is not something I studied at college. I didn't even go through a college program, but this is from life experience for me. I've definitely struggled with addiction most of my life, and I kind of just want to start off, like my mom said, I was raised in a great home. Both my parents were Christians. We shortly moved to Bernie, Texas, which is north of San Antonio, and we started growing a little more distant from our parents. My dad worked in Ingram, my mom worked in San Antonio, so they were never home. We never received attention as kids that we needed. So I began trying to build friendships, and I built them with the wrong people. And I began making decisions for myself out of rebellion. I started drinking and smoking at a very young age. Shortly after, I was arrested in high school for possession of a controlled substance. And I went to rehab shortly after. And, that was kind of a big deal for me. I literally just turned 18 and already had a third-degree felony on my record. They placed me on probation with terms of going to it was actually a 45-day rehab program because I was so young. And I did not gain anything from this program. I went to, I think it was 2 or 3 AA, NA, CA, all these meetings a day. And basically what they taught me is that this addiction that you have is a disease that is equivalent to cancer. You'll be living with this for the rest of your life. You are already defeated. I did not like that. I was surrounded by people who the only thing we had in common was our drug use. And so basically through this program, I became smarter at using drugs. And I graduated the 45-day program, relapsed 2 days afterwards. I had no desire to stay clean and sober. I moved out to College Station where I tried to go to college. I tried to fulfill this happiness that I strive for through getting an education. Well, college lasted about 2 weeks for me. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's a fine way to do it.
No, it was about 2 weeks and I dropped out. It was not something I wanted to do. I began working full-time at a pizza restaurant, working my way up from a delivery driver to a manager. I thought I would find this happiness that I just longed for through my job, through working hard. That did not work. I was constantly struggling for money, spent all my money partying, using drugs. I shortly moved to San Marcos after that, where I moved in with a good friend of mine, and we started selling marijuana. It was a good way to make money. There was lots of money in it. It was something that interested us, and it was then that my life started falling apart. I was too young. I was not mature by any means. I got turned on to painkillers, which became a very expensive habit, about $250 a day. And I struggled with that addiction for about 6 months. And after that, I was told about this drug that was cheaper, it was easier to get, and it would give me more highs. And that was heroin. So I got turned on to heroin very quick. It did not take me very long before I started mainlining, which is shooting up. And my life just began to have a downward spiral. Like my mom said, my brother was going through some issues as well. He was selling marijuana and selling stolen goods. And several times he would try to reach out to me, but I had no intentions of talking to him, and I felt worse and worse about myself because I wasn't able to be there for him. And I remember one morning, I called my mom. It was about 6:30, 7 in the morning. I had been up all night using, and I found myself thousands of dollars in debt with my dealer. And I was getting death threats, and I wanted to get clean. I wanted to beat this addiction. And my mom told me about this program. It's called Teen Challenge. I hope y'all are familiar with it. I'll mention a little bit later on about Teen Challenge. But it was not something I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to get back into these 30-day programs. I wanted them to give me drugs to overcome my drug addiction, which just, it makes no sense. And so I was not interested in that. I decided that there has to be another way I can beat this. So I started going to clinics, and they prescribed me this drug called Suboxone, which is to help you get off heroin and other opiates. And you know, it was a very dark time that I was living in. I basically just used my prescription during times when I wasn't able to score any drugs. And shortly after, I got evicted from the house I was living in. I stopped selling, and I moved back to San Antonio, where my addiction continued to grow. It was an everyday thing. It was like, wake up first thing in the morning, how am I going to get money today so that I can get high later on? And that was a constant cycle for me. My mom then told me that there was a warrant out for my arrest, and that I had violated my probation. And she told me that I would be going to jail shortly after, and that I needed to turn myself in. It was not something I was interested in doing, so I didn't even call them, tell them where I was at. I just tried to stay on the run. Well, there was an incident a couple days before that where I was driving, and basically I was having an overdose. And this was while I was driving. I remember pulling over on the side of the road, basically welcoming death. You know, I told God that I didn't even know existed. I told him, I was like, you know what, if this is all my life is going to amount to, then just go ahead and let me die now. I'd rather just get this over with now. I'm tired of this pain that I'm feeling. I don't know what to do with myself. Well, about 30 minutes later, it became very intense. I started crying. I was in a lot of pain, and quickly I began crying out again to this God that I didn't even know existed. And I said, you know what, please spare my life and use me in some way. Help me to get clean. Help me to get off this. You know, make my life amount to something. Well, 3 days later, I was arrested, and that was a blessing in disguise. It was the worst withdrawal that I've ever gone through. It was terrible. I hallucinated. I was in a cell by myself in solitary confinement. I was there for about 4 days, and I was moved up to general population afterwards. And my mom began continuing to tell me about this program, Teen Challenge. And you know what? I said, fine. I want to go to this program. You know, rehab has never worked for me. It seems that everyone I'm in jail with has all gone to rehab, and clearly this does not work. We went in front of our attorney and the judge, and they basically said, no way. We're not sending him to Teen Challenge. We've never sent anyone to Teen Challenge. We're not going to do it. We'll offer you a 6-month in-jail rehab. Well, we began, my family is full of prayer warriors, but they began praying for this, and sure enough, a door opened up where I was able to go to Teen Challenge. I was court-ordered to the Teen Challenge program, which is a 12-month discipleship program that deals nothing with drugs, but it is for people who deal with drug addictions. It is simply a discipleship program that builds discipline and structure in our lives while living examples of Jesus' teachings. And it was an amazing program. You know, before I went there, I spent 4 months in jail, basically waiting for them to send me out there. And it was a very tough 4 months. It's not fun being in jail, seeing your family and friends through a glass wall. It was very tough for my mom, and it was very tough for me, and I know it was extremely tough for my brother. And after coming to this program, I remember the first day I was there, I felt this overwhelming presence, and just all around me. You know, I was surrounded by people who just wanted to love me. I mean, I had several people just come up and they wanted to introduce themselves to me. You know, hey, I just want you to know, I want you to stick this program out. I love you. I care for you. I'm praying for you. And, you know, that meant so much to me. You know, I just wanted, my entire life, I've just wanted to be accepted. I just wanted to be a part of the cool crowd. And it was an amazing experience for me. A lot of guys who I graduated with, I'm still really good friends with today. Like I said, it was a year long. It was residential. We lived on campus. It was very strict. There was lots of structure and lots of discipline involved. And this program did wonderful works to me and my lifestyle. You know, this program, we did not go to substance control classes. We didn't go to AA, CA, NA. It was simply an in-depth Bible study, and teaches you how to become a Christian, become a better Christian, and continue growing as a Christian. And it was a big part of my life. And like my mom said, I will be leading Saturday. They have a ministry institute out in LA. I'm about a mile away from Compton, so I'm in there. And we'll be working with several inner-city missions, and I'll be working with youth out there, and hopefully making an impact on these kids' lives by living through an example of how a Christian should act and how a Christian should be. And you know, I've really been blessed with this opportunity to go out there. It was very hard to get transferred out there, and I know it's going to be tough being away from my family. And I've never lived in another state in my entire life. And the one state I choose to live in, the one city I choose to live in is LA. But like I said, I've never felt such a strong pull in my heart towards this ministry than I have anything else in my life. I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know this is where I'm supposed to go. And I just wanted I have a short slideshow here.